Greetings, everybody. This is your Brozo here, and it's episode number 2 of the Elevated Beings podcast. And today we have the lovely Laura Lockhart.
Hello, how are you?
um, and I, like what we do here on the Elevated Beings podcast, is that we would like to showcase individuals that are positive, they're uplifting people, humanity in their own way. So, the young lady right here she does a bunch of things, but I'm going to let her talk about herself. That's probably the best way to do that, right?
Well, that could take us all day, so catch up with us later. No. Actually, what I do is I do intuitive readings.
Mm-hmm.
I also am an intuitive life coach, among other things.
Mm-hmm.
I am a hypnotherapist as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do anything spiritually speaking, I guess. I also do healings,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be crystal healings, distant healings. It doesn't matter as long as I can touch people's lives and change them.
Okay. Wow, that's powerful. Yeah, that's definitely needed today. That's definitely needed. Um, that's powerful. Now, well, I do know you wrote a book.
I did.
Okay. Could you please talk about that a little bit?
It's 148 lessons from Source, and it started all at my kitchen counter.
Mm-hmm.
I was writing for myself, not for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do written communication with Source instead of just verbally,
Mm.
especially do it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had asked Source for guidance and, use me as a conduit, tell me about this or that. Next thing I know, I'm writing number 1, number 2, number 3, and I realized it came to my mind, this isn't for me.
Mm.
This is for the people.
The people, yeah.
And therefore, I wrote 148 different passages from Source that I was given.
Mm-hmm.
The book is set up like a workbook.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one, and then it has space so that you can write in there as well for your own powerful learning.
Mm.
So it's quite amazing because sometimes I look in the book and I'm like, oh, this is really good information. Where'd that come from? Certainly wasn't me. So.
Like I said, that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
That sounds
absolutely.
familiar. I know, like I told you before, people come up to me all the time, well, now, after they read my book, and they're like, they'll give me excerpts, and they'll say, oh, this is great, and I'm like, I did that?
Exactly.
I'm, okay, well, now I remember since you reminded me.
Right.
But I had a similar situation when I was writing. It just kept on flowing.
Exactly.
And next thing I know, I was like, wait a minute, it's not for me. So I feel you on that.
And I don't even think I've read through my entire book ever.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, I had to proofread mine, I think, a couple times. So. But besides that,
Yeah.
well, you obviously have some gifts, that a lot of people don't have, I would say. Well,
Everybody has them.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
just choose not to practice them.
Exactly. When did you realize you had that gift?
Well, I was really young since I've been sharing information. I just didn't realize what I was doing until I was older.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I was about 30 years old I'd spoke to a couple of different intuitives.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally had one person saying, it's making me so nervous to talk to you because you're more gifted than I am.
Wow.
You could tell me, so why are you talking to me?
Why are you talking to me? Yeah.
And she said there was something really special about you because not only can you communicate, be a conduit for others, you can be a conduit for yourselves. And a lot of people don't have that gift to be able to read for themselves or their family. I think I'm just able to disconnect from everything around me and truly hear. So when I was 30, like I said, that's when I started doing readings for other people. And then I don't like to make people dependent. That's not what being intuitive is about. Being spiritual is about empowering others. So I would teach them how to speak to Source, the written word, and how to hear and to trust themselves to answer their own questions. Because I don't need to be paid. I need you to do for yourself so that you can go out and do for others.
I know, that's right. Yeah. And that I appreciate people like you, because like I said, they're needed. And even people that are searching, that guidance can make them have to do leaps and bounds to what they need to
Right.
do for the next level. Because me personally, personally, just because how I am, when I first met you, I knew it was something was up. I saw it. I was like, wait a minute, and then we talked briefly,
Uh-huh.
and then, I didn't know exactly what it was, but later on, once we started talking, then it all made sense,
Right,
Um, and that's beautiful. So you realized that you had the gift in your in you said your 30s.
yeah, I was probably about 30 years old. And then it just, and once you recognize something, even if I were to have a client that comes to me, once you show them that they are already connected and that they know for themselves, they start paying more attention and start doing their own studies and start taking information, and then they themselves expand. It's about focusing on your own knowing. Once they realize whoever they is for you, that you can now hear, or you're aware that you can hear, the information starts coming in.
Start coming. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's like for me personally, like the more in tune I get, the more. You know how they say there's like a mental plane, and we can all tap into that mental reservoir.
Yes.
A lot of things. What happened for me now specifically, it's like if somebody's talking about me, about to contact me or something like that, I can see it and then they'll contact me.
Right.
But that's
Exactly.
one of the smaller things. Well, I'm gonna say smaller, but that's an example. One of the things as far as
Right.
I guess
But I
just the
think that's
ESP.
one of the bigger things, because we all do that.
Yeah, yeah,
They're thinking about a song, it comes on the radio.
Yeah,
They're thinking
exactly.
about someone they call. People mark things up to coincidence, and they don't realize it's their own intuition
exactly,
letting them
exactly.
know.
I agree with that 100%. It's not spooky anymore at all.
Oh,
It's not.
no.
Yeah, yeah. It's not, it hasn't been for a while, but now it's something that I try to, embrace. Well, I definitely embrace it, but I also try to cultivate it.
Exactly.
And next question would be how do you harness your powers and your abilities? Like what are the exercises you do? What is it that you keep on to for your power to grow? Like what do you do to
Well, and that's interesting. We'd have to go kind of backwards
Okay.
for that, because we're kind of way beyond that point now. The other thing that really opened my eyes to my gifts was so strange, and it was just such an everyday experience. I went to a Renaissance festival.
with the horses and stuff and
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And
King Arthur?
Exactly, which I absolutely adore.
Me too. One of my
And-
favorite movies is Excalibur, just so you know.
There you go. I like that movie too. And there was a little guy on the side who was doing readings. And so me playing around, oh, we got to go do this. So I go and I sit down, and he looked at me. He said, "Do you know who you are?" And I said, "Sure, I'm Laura Lockhart." And he goes, "No, do you really know who you are?" And he spread out these cards. And he said, "I'm not doing the reading for me, you are." Or, "No, I'm not doing the reading for you, you are."
Yeah.
And I just like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, sir, you say this to everybody. He said, "Run your hands over the cards and tell me what you feel." So I half run my hands over the cards, and I'm feeling intense heat off of certain cards. I literally lifted up the little thing and looked under the table, because I thought he was doing something.
Some tricks.
And then I looked back at him, and he said, "You tell me, you flip the cards." So I slowly went over, and I started flipping cards. And he said, "You just did your own reading. I will show you how to read these cards." He spent so much time, he didn't charge me a dime. We went over them, and they were spot on. That was the beginning of me reading for others. So then I realized, okay, he had tarot cards. I personally, still to this day, can't do that, because I get physically ill because of the energy
Because of
coming
energy,
off
yeah.
them.
I got you.
But I can do angel cards, but I don't now, because everything, it's like the angels cards is where I started. The more I did it, then I'd feel by heat. Eventually that turned into yes, no, so I could just flip through them and it'd be like yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no, no, no. So then I'd do that, and then I realized if I can hear them say yes and no, why do I need cards? I probably can hear them. So that's when everything started to do intuitive readings.
Okay.
So
So as
people-
opposed to using a
medium.
medium, it was a, excuse me, you became the conduit, so you could,
Exactly.
the information would come from you, and you would just,
Exactly.
yeah, I got
So,
you.
and I've done everything from grabbing people's necklaces, yes, no, yes, no. I mean, I went through every, the stones and the this and the that. But then eventually, it's just easier just to listen.
Yeah.
And lot less time, because I don't have to go through a whole stack of cards. Just ask me the question, I'll give you the answer. My most difficult part is keeping my mouth shut to hear the whole question.
I got you.
Because they never need to speak to me. They're speaking to source.
Yeah, speak my source.
By the time they're done with the question, I've already gone over
already
the
have it,
answer
yeah.
3 different ways. And then what's the best way to tell this person?
Is there a specific, I'm not, a spiritual practice that you follow? Because I see Buddha, all over the place.
Right.
And so are you Buddhist or no?
I'm not Buddhist, and a lot of people do ask me that. Buddhists, they don't praise Buddha,
Very true.
okay? The reason my house looks like this is because it's a constant reminder to stay aligned with source and to be calm.
Gotcha.
You can't come into my house and feel uneasy. I do readings in this house all the time. In fact, but if they're coming and they're nervous, I feel physically ill because I've already connected to them.
Yeah, I got you.
Once they come here, and I'm sitting clear over there, and they're sitting here because I don't want to get. This house brings them down to a level of peace.
I can see that.
It's the plants. It's the surrounding. It's the lighting.
It's the owl.
It's the owl. It's the wisdom. You cannot walk in any room where you're not going to see this. It's just a reminder.
I know, and
of
even
who
outside.
You are.
Even
Right,
outside.
exactly.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see that. And I can feel it too,
Yeah. So
I
I'm
can
not
definitely
any
feel it.
religion at all.
Yeah. All right, me neither. That's what's up.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I went through those schools, and then, the more I learned, the more, I was like, okay, now I see, I see what y'all trying to do. You know what I mean?
And any religion, I feel like it puts you in a box.
I agree, 100%.
If you're truly a spiritual being, there is no way you could put yourself in a box.
box.
There's no box large enough for who you are.
In all honesty, a lot of the times I feel as though, this avatar, it can be too much of a box sometimes. You know what I mean? I feel that a lot, so I have to, I almost have to, remind myself of why I'm here and how I'm living life, and you know what I mean. Like I have to truly remind myself, because sometimes I do feel not attached to the avatar. I feel my true essence as opposed to this. So I have to start to stay grounded. I guess that's the best word to
Well,
put it.
good luck with that.
Yeah. 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 I'll
Even growing up, my dad would always say, Laura, you gotta keep your feet on the ground. He probably meant one thing, but as I've aged, I realized I'm not here most of the time.
Yeah.
I may be sitting in front of you, but the people always comment on, you wouldn't be able to tell right now how I never speak unless I'm spoken to. That's because I'm probably not right here with you now.
Yeah. The fact that you just said good luck with that, and that is a truest statement, especially dealing with me. It's like, and I used to think it was a point of me being aloof, to a certain degree, and not being, not focused.
Right.
But a lot of times it's like the more that you the more you open up, the more this like goes away. So so yeah, I know I feel you,
Right.
100%, It's interesting. Does anybody else in your family have the gift, or how do you think that you think it was
My
passed?
children or my siblings?
Born, like past, like your parents, or do you think that
Well,
there was a?
it's funny that you asked that because I'm adopted.
Okay.
But people in my family, I mean, spirituality has always been a part of us,
Mhm.
even my parents. And now when my mom died, she literally had libraries of books, and I realized she was reading those era spiritual books.
Mm-hmm.
But she never spoke it. But all of the things that they said, and the great thing about my parents is that they believed in the other side. They believed in spirits.
Mhm.
That was never a hush-hush thing.
Mhm.
In fact, it was talked about openly. But I believe that I was placed in their life because they did not impose their will or beliefs
you.
upon me.
Yeah.
As the other kids were growing up, they had to go to church.
Mm. They
Me
knew.
growing up,
Mm-hmm.
when I was young, yes, I went.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
But, and I would go so far as to say, I did teach in Sunday school.
You in school? Nothing wrong with that.
However, as I started getting older, I'm
Mhm.
talking 12, 13, I started speaking my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
My parents let me leave that church.
Mm-hmm.
I started going around to different churches,
Mhm.
hearing what they had to say.
Mm.
It was not resonating with me. I would go home and speak on the untruth of what was being spoken in the
Mhm.
church with passion because it made me very angry.
Mm-hmm.
My parents would always just listen and support. That's when I started looking at all the different, and so they allowed me to blossom into who I am today.
Mhm.
I have 8 children.
Mm-hmm.
None of my children go to church.
Mm-hmm.
None of my children believe in religion. They believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in universe.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in angels,
Mhm.
even aliens.
Mm-hmm.
But by my parents allowing me to be, I've been able to raise 8 children, and I allow them to be who they are, and they can go out and touch people. I just
Mhm.
really think this is a time of change.
I agree.
And my kids are so fervent
I agree.
on those beliefs
Mm-hmm.
that if I can create 8, and they can create,
Mm-hmm.
and they can touch this, and they can touch you and
Mhm.
her, we're going to change the world.
I agree, 100%. And that's one of the questions I was gonna ask is that what is your outlook that you see for humanity because of the awakening and coming to the age of Aquarius and etc.
I think it's going to be such a different time, but because I don't believe like everybody believes.
Mhm.
I know everybody's preaching end times
Mhm.
and hell and fire and da 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 da. And I'm not trying to make light of that because
Mhm.
these people are very attached to their
Mhm.
beliefs,
Mhm.
including my sister.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it's the end times.
Mhm.
I believe it's the end of an era.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the turbulence is that exchange going from
Transition.
to being asleep
Mm-hmm.
to being awake
Exactly.
and to being awakened. So that's what I believe. Jesus ain't gonna come. I mean, in my opinion, Jesus isn't gonna come down. And Source is a source of love. He's
Mhm.
not going to torture you
Mhm.
and us. If we get tortured, that's on us.
Yeah, exactly.
If we
We made our hell. We made our
that is,
yeah.
and I'm going out on a limb here. I
Mhm.
don't believe in hell.
Mm-hmm.
This is
This is,
hell.
yeah, this is about as bad as you're gonna get. Yep. I know. I agree.
And so all of the things where they're trying to control the masses
Mm-hmm.
by threatening with end times and hell and all
Mhm.
of that stuff, that keeps people in fear.
Mm-hmm.
The most powerful thing we have today is the freedom of knowledge of you are more than what they tell you.
Exactly.
Fear, nothing but fear itself. That
Mhm.
has never made more sense to me than it does today.
I think it's very interesting that, you know, the contradictions and hypocrisy of something like, you know, worshiping Jesus, in which he's the one pretty much saying everything I'm doing you can do as well.
That's right.
And so as opposed to taking that, as opposed to taking that message, you want to worship the messenger.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it took me a while to really to come to that conclusion. But after that, I'm like, this is, that's when a lot of the man-made religions of the day,
That's
it really,
right.
really turned me off. And, and the more I did research in it, the more I found out stuff that you're talking about, like angels and aliens and how it's all connected. So I just had a different view of the religions. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I see them for what they are.
Well, and
And
the interesting thing to me was all of the things that Jesus
Mhm.
did,
Mhm.
healings,
Mhm.
intuitive readings,
Mhm.
connecting with
Mhm.
Source himself, not using that middleman,
Mhm.
are all demonized
Mhm. Exactly.
now.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
if Jesus is so worshipped and praised for
Mhm.
all that he did,
Mhm.
how can someone who does the same things today be getting it from evil? It's such a
No, it's just,
contradiction.
yeah, no, and I agree because if you run and break things down to a excuse me, to well, two things.
Mhm.
Jesus said he was not from here, so
Mhm.
that would if he's not from here, that means he's extraterrestrial,
Mhm.
right? Number two is he's doing everything you just said, healing people, healing the
Water to
blind,
wine.
to water the wine, um, making multiple loaves, so
Right.
he's a wizard.
Right.
He's an
Which
extraterrestrial
is
wizard.
demonized, and if that's
Exactly.
evil,
Yeah. Yeah.
is it?
Is it? I mean,
Is
you
it?
you worship the person
Exactly.
that is the main. He's showing you all of this stuff and saying you can do it.
Mhm.
So I think that's I think that's interesting. Well, let me ask this. About I'm interested in past lives.
Okay.
One of the sisters I deal with, she was telling me she's had a vision and she kind of was talking about my past life. In addition to, she was looking my natal chart and lining up my north node, I think it was, with, and she gave me some information on that. Could you go into a little bit about um, how past life experience affect you today in your
Oh, well, I mean, to me, because I'm a hypnotherapist,
Mhm.
they are so significant.
Mhm.
I didn't realize, I mean, I always knew about past lives,
Mhm.
always believed it, knew that you carry certain memories forward and cellular energy and all that other stuff. I didn't realize how to harness the lessons
Mhm.
of past lives until hypnotherapy.
Mhm.
Um, I think it creates, I mean, when I was a child,
Mhm.
I'm talking really, really, really small,
Mhm.
growing up. If you look at me today, I probably look like a woman to you.
Mhm.
When I was little, every day I'd look in the mirror and I'd think, I look like a boy. I look like a man.
Mhm.
I feel like a man. I'd have dreams of
Mm.
having a penis. I would,
Gotcha.
and I have a lot of masculine tendencies
Tendencies,
to
yeah.
this day, although I'm very feminine.
Mhm.
I now understand that my most recent past life, I was a man.
Mm.
That memory and cellular memory
Mm.
is carried forward.
Carried forward.
And that energy is carried forward. I was very connected to Egypt.
Mhm.
I've had at least 3 lives in Egypt.
Mm.
I have tattoos on my body
Mhm.
that are very much Egyptian.
Mhm.
The lessons that we learn, and like I take people back, for example, my daughter, who in this lifetime connects with females.
Okay.
A lot of people say, why is that? And da-da-da.
Mhm.
And she herself was looking for an explanation. It's hard for them, a lot of people, to connect with being different from what humanity says they should be.
Exactly.
When we did a past life regression with her,
Mhm.
it turns out she was married
Mhm.
and she had multiple miscarriages.
Mm.
And the husband
Mhm.
wanted children.
Kept on.
And they had 2 children who came into this physical life, but they died young.
Mm.
He couldn't take the stress, and she was trying to please him, and
Mm.
nothing that she did could ever make him
Yeah.
happy.
Mhm.
And she loved him,
Mhm.
and he left her.
Mm.
But the one person that stayed with her through all of this until the day she died was her female caretaker. Coming into this life, women are the only people she can trust.
She can trust, yeah.
Women are the only people who will stand by you and be there for you and nurture you and care for you. Huh? What a... That gave me peace.
Yeah.
Because I always say, I don't care if I have a child who's gay, I'm going to love him. But it does affect you when it's your own child.
Yeah, of course.
But it also gave me understanding, and it took the burden off of her to understand herself.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is very connected of who you once were to who you are now. It's just a progressive timeline and a progression of understanding yourself. Now that she understands herself, she can live more fully.
Yeah, without holding back, without any reservations, because she knows she is who she is, and
That's
she has
right.
she has understanding of realizing now she can understand why this is all happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of the main players come back with you over and over and over again. They're just different people, and that's why when I take them back, look at this person. Whose energy do they match in this lifetime?
Yeah. I got you.
Oh, well, this is now so-and-so.
Leroy used to be Frank last time. And
Now
Melissa
I
used to be,
understand why we have such a hard time getting along. Why I feel such a strange connection to them sexually. He used to be my husband or my boyfriend or my lover. And it just clarifies so that you can get past those moments and relationships to understand. My ex-husband, he killed me. He slit my throat in front of my children. We were together, but I can't stand him. But he took my life in front of my kids, which would explain why when I was growing up I could have nothing over my neck, anything slitting your throat, anything like that that had to do with the neck area. I would get tightness in my throat. I'd get this and that. Well, once I had that revelation, it eased up. Oh, this is why.
You know, that's really interesting because I've had experiences like that, positive and negative. Like, we give you perfect examples. Like, I remember one time when I was back in Virginia and I was in school, I was landscaping and doing other stuff. And I remember, like, before, every day we'd have like a briefing about what we're going to do, like landscape and stuff. And I remember, like, sitting down on, like, the ground in such a, like, submissive posture, you know, and it felt almost like being in shackles, like you know what I mean, like it was like maybe it was back in the slavery time, you know, and you know, and it just dawned on me, you know, that you know my past, you know, some of my ancestors might have been in that situation, and that was, you know what I mean? And exactly, you know, and that was a negative aspect, but it's also had an empowering aspect as well. It was like when I've gone to certain places, and I've, you know, literally felt like a priest, you know, or, you know, the powers and like I could just, you know what I mean? So it's different energies, you know, that I had to realize that it was from before, or you know, something my ancestors experienced, et cetera, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so I know I completely agree with that, and I can understand that.
Right.
Yeah.
So this time I'm not going to kill my husband, and he's not going to kill me.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
peacefully divorce
Yeah.
him. Sometimes those lessons are really
no
hard
more of
to
that.
learn.
Yeah, no more of that. No more of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting just how like we were talking earlier about being inside of a box, and it's like, you know, I run away from the box now. You know, I you know, the box is probably, the box is like jail. It is like the hell. You know what I mean? Anything that you want, you know, like you know, it's like I truly feel like the infinite, like the all. I can really feel that inside of me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the more I open up, I can connect. You know, and see it. So, I don't believe. I don't follow any man-made ideologies.
Right.
I follow the law and stuff like that, but when it, of course, you got to do that. When they're locked up, I'll be in jail for real. But anything that's not about true self and true elevation, in my experience here in this lifetime, like if it's not moving me in that positive direction, then I can't internalize it.
Right. Well, and I think too that the more spiritual you become, literally you become more free.
Yeah, exactly.
But literally you then live outside the bondage of humanity.
Exactly.
I say that because once you live a spiritual life, you don't have to follow the rules like everybody does, because you're not fearful of going to hell. And you're not fearful of what other people think, because frankly, when you get to that point, you just don't care.
You don't care, exactly.
Literally. Yeah. So if I go and, what's a good example? Cussing. We're just talking about cussing.
Damn it.
Exactly. I don't feel like I'm doing something wrong because I always tease and say, well, I'm spiritual, not religious, so I can cuss because I'm not going anywhere.
That's crazy anyway, because as much craziness is in the Bible anyway, the rape, murder, and eating babies, all that kind of crazy stuff. A cuss word's a small thing compared to a lot of stuff.
Right. But supposedly it's for odds. The thing about it is too, is that you also look at murders. A lot of people think, oh my God, they're the worst person in the world, and even I have a different viewpoint of that, because in my life and my belief, we have contracts with each other. This was meant to happen. We've talked about this before we even came to this side, and now we're living out that. Now that doesn't mean that your life is planned moment by moment by moment. It does mean there's different paths that you can take, but there are certain nuances in life that will happen no matter what. That includes murder, rape, all the things that we think that are low vibrational stuff. Those people, in my mind, we've made contracts with them. Show me a person that hasn't changed because of a major issue. Like
major incident. Yeah. That's true.
That makes you grow as a spiritual person.
It's true.
It makes laws change. It makes people change.
It's interesting you say that, because somebody, like in the book, I have a chapter that's literally called "Just Shut Up, You Black Nigger," and it talks about how the way the racism, like when I was growing up, how racist, where I was, and experiences that I had, and that experience came actually from a friend, back then, a white friend that said that to me just because he was mad at me. But people are like, even today earlier when I was saying with somebody's direct message to me, they were like, "I'm sorry you went through that," and I'm just like, I'm not. I'm not sorry really about anything that I've really done. Even mistakes I've made, because I've learned from it. I haven't, I'm not like, regretful. Now, did I like the experiences then? No.
Obviously.
But like, it's like now I'm like, well, this is, it might affect me then. If somebody would say to me now, I would just like, it's, just, okay.
But then how did it empower you, and what aspects of that can you take that power and teach others?
Exactly. Yeah.
Everything can be taken to a whole new level of grace if you have the power to do that.
Exactly.
Some people choose not. Some people choose to wallow and wallow and wallow. But you know what? In that wallowing, there's someone outside of them that's learning. And I think that's the beauty of all things. Negative things are never truly negative.
Yeah, exactly.
It's impossible. Love is not love, and hate. We've got a lot of hate out there, but look at all the love that it's creating. Black lives matter.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I was reading this book called The Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti. Right. It was written by a doctor called Dr. Malachi York, and he was talking about how you hold the pendulum as God as dealing with morality. You know what I mean? So it's like what certain people might think is good or bad is good to you, because you're the one that's holding the pendulum, and it's swinging back and forth. So and that's again, that's you that's you being almost like your own judge in your own reality.
Right.
So that makes perfect it makes perfect sense.
And even as far as, and I don't know how taboo this is, but sexuality and spirituality, those two things have always gone hand in hand. It's human parameters that make everything.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody. I remember. I really didn't know anything about gay people or anything like that until I came down to Atlanta, and I used to work at AT&T, and half my team was gay. So I got a crash course like that.
Right. Exactly.
And I was younger, so I used to ask questions just like we asking now. I was like, so men and female. I was like, there's one guy. I'll never forget this. He thought it was so funny when I asked him this question. But I said he was a real big guy. He's a Puerto Rican guy. And I told him, I said, I was joking when I said, is there a weight limit, for being gay?
Oh my God.
I was joking when I said it.
Right.
But man, he just thought it was the funniest thing because I was asking serious questions. I kind of threw that one in this kind of joke. But I didn't know like when it came to like how people interacted at all. Like I had no clue. You know? Like perfect example and different examples. Like in the book I talk about when I lived in London, one of my roommates in a hostel, he was from Poland.
Okay.
And he didn't encounter a lot of black people. So he literally thought that he was around black people. I can't remember where he said he was, but he thought that when they jumped in the pool, the skin was going to come off.
So silly.
And yeah. Oh, and he thought that that if he but my point is that just the perception. You know what I'm saying? People's perception and their lack of experience. You know what I mean? And I was that was pretty much me. I didn't know anything about but male and female. I had two a bunch of just gay friends that I don't even see them as gay. They just my friends. They're people. I don't even. I mean, and for me to even look at them differently, I'm inside the box then.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is so right. I think that it's just best to follow your intuition and your natural direction. It should never lead you astray unless someone has altered your reality. Then it's up to that person to either recognize it or put themselves in places where they can become awakened. And that just goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's a time of awakening. Because you know what? People are tired of being lied to.
Yes, exactly.
People are tired of being taught falsehoods. They may not know exactly what it is, but something just does not feel right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of the best movies. I still say was The Matrix. And that, and actually current time V for Vendetta. Just because I'm not sure if you've seen that, but. It's like what's happening right now. V for Vendetta, like the whole movie about like what's going on right now. But The Matrix specifically, just the fact of you being outside of an alternate reality, which is completely false,
right?
And breaking out of that. That's why I literally named my book. It's called Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. Because I was in it.
Right.
I was in it to win it.
Right.
But then it started fading away. Next thing I know, I'm like, yo, none of this is real.
Right.
There's a and I always talk about this. There's a documentary. I think it's called Above Majestic. I think it is. But this guy, high-ranking official, like a military official, was pretty much saying that 99.5% of all the information we're given is lies.
Oh yeah.
He was talking math, religion, history, you name it. He was saying that everybody's just been completely misinformed from day one, and that's almost everything we taught has been lies.
That's right.
I mean,
with the intention of keeping us in the box.
Yeah.
Because if people really understand their true potential and power, there is just no way that they could keep us in control.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. Yeah, that's so true. And instead of just having one Jesus around, you have, 7 billion Jesuses, and,
Exactly.
Christ consciousness, having the Christ consciousness, and,
Right.
I always say, Jesus was a bad dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, he's a good example of what we should be striving to be. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm not talking, because he was a hardcore dude if you read it, you know what I mean? I'm not just talking about doing the wisdom stuff. He's in there, telling people they're wrong and flipping over tables and like,
right.
yeah, he wasn't no floating in the air and stuff like that. But, it's we all need to really make that transition into the Christ consciousness. You know what I mean?
And I think for me, one of the most amazing moments, so strange, you know how you just have a moment in life that stays with you.
Mm-hmm.
My now husband he claimed to be Muslim at the time. Those little hat
Kufis.
those little hat things.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was like, hey, this is really cute. I'm gonna put this on for a minute. I put it on, and I was walking around, and it suddenly came into alignment. It was like information being downloaded. And I said, he didn't die. He lived beyond the cross. All of a sudden, all of this information about life after that moment
I got you.
came to me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm awakened. Now I'm looking for information like I was being told to see if I could get anything to validate what I've been told.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Not by human, not by... It just came to me. It was after that I started looking into information and found that a lot of the things that I was told was being validated, and maybe even I knew a little bit more truth than someone else because it was organic. Now I'm excited. Because that gave him more of a lift. That now he is a badass dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he lived beyond all of that stuff, and he found a way to get away and to expand and still keep teaching his truth and having children and marrying someone, and that was more powerful to me.
Yeah.
And I still get goosebumps to this day.
I got him right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got him right now.
Talking about that, because why shorten his story?
Exactly. I agree. I would say that probably 99% of all people that, listen to that story, they don't know the true truth behind him. How children, how old he lived to be,
right?
How he truly transitioned, and so on and so on. And so it's true. I mean, I agree with you 100%. But that's just
But that's what happens when you allow spirituality to be a part of you versus closing everything out. I'm not special. You're not special. We just are.
Yeah, exactly.
Once everybody starts doing that and everybody starts awakening, what are they going to do with us?
Yeah, I agree.
A whole new world.
A whole new world, yep.
A whole new universe.
It's interesting to me because it's so obvious. The plan that's happening right now to try to not even through just literally trying to put stuff in us, to control us, but it just in all aspects, the fear, they're trying to shoot everybody up with stuff, and they're the ones that know what day and time it is. So they have to try to tighten the noose as hard as they can.
Right.
So we all don't wake up. Groupthink doesn't shift from this nonsense that's happening right now, and groupthink shift to, the awakening, the positivity, and and embracing, source. I think about that a lot when I look at the world, because this is like, for me right now, this world is like a movie. It's like I can't even. It's so fake and so unreal. It's ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, I can't stomach watching the news and all this kind of stuff. Like,
I don't watch.
Yeah. I mean, no. I can't stomach it. I can't even, like. To me, it's the stupidest thing.
I read something yesterday about the mask that I found very intriguing, and I thought I was the only one experiencing it. I refuse to wear masks. I do. I'm one of those people that get stared at because I'm not following. But there are instances where I absolutely can't get away with it anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So I have it, and I promise you, I bitch about it the whole time. And I feel like, I'm going to pass out. But
I agree.
I read something about how they used to use the mask to isolate people. And therefore they gain power over them because it takes away their individuality and makes them step back and makes them more submissive. I promise you, when I read that, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because when I put on a mask, I don't speak as much. I don't show my true self. I do feel within myself. I'm not my full person. And I'm like, this feeling that I have is real. Because when I take off that mask, it's like
liberation.
And you know what? The very fact that everybody so effortlessly jumps on the bandwagon through fear. I am not sick.
No.
I will not be sick.
Exactly.
First of all, it's a mindset. Second of all, I'm not saying this is made up, but if you believe, you will bring that energy to you, and some negative stuff will happen.
Will happen, yeah. I mean, like what they call it, what is it, a hypochondriac? Is that right? Like when they just always think they're sick, and I mean, they could be fine, but in their mind they're sick, and but that's like they're making you become hypochondriac with this crazy, all the stuff that's happening around,
Exactly.
They're making you think, oh, you're torn up and all this kind of stuff. I mean, me personally, I don't get sick. I've gotten sick once. I had the flu about 5 years ago. I had bronchitis and everything, and it wasn't good. I was sick for real, But, once I started taking the proper herbs, and once I started, getting my mind right, as soon as I did that, like a couple of days later, it all cleared.
Right.
And it's so funny because, like, in my mind, because I didn't want to go back to work, I was like wanting to be more sick. I'm sure that
Exactly, that always helps. That does.
I'm sure that was kind of like they were like, it's helping me be sick. But after 5 months, I'm sick and tired of being sick. I want to feel better. And then,
exactly.
Bam,
Yeah.
So it's all a mind game, and these people, they just have the people that are in control. They just had a lot of higher information, that they kept to themselves, and they were able to utilize that high information to control everybody. But that is not how it's supposed to be living.
That's right.
And it can't last forever.
That's right.
And that's a part, like we were talking earlier. I think that's a part of the transition that we're seeing. Is everybody has their time to rule. Civilizations come, they crumble. You just can't continue to take advantage of people and treat them not treat them right. For it has to end.
Well, and I think the universal explosion. I mean, think about how many people were jumping on this new wave kick. Empowering yourself through yourself. And people were waking up, and there were bigger and bigger groups, and bigger groups were interacting, and let's change this, and let's do the universe. And I mean, I've been a part of a lot of that stuff. And now, oh my God, they're starting to wake up. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, let's make everybody think they're sick and dying.
Exactly.
Because
and lock them down, right?
Exactly, because they are still in the awakening stage, and if we give them just enough medicine, they're going to fall back to sleep. Let's legalize marijuana. That's going to keep people. Woo,
Oh yeah.
It's what can we do to keep their spiritual self asleep? And I know a lot of people think I'm crazy when I say that. I am not one for believing in stuff my wonderful daughter believes in, but everything's a conspiracy theory to her, and that's fine and that's great, and I understand. But isn't that also really following their grid?
Yeah. Because it has to connect with what they see it being a conspiracy, for it to be a conspiracy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So if you are truly a spiritual being,
Mm-hmm.
what does it matter? Because you know nothing touches
Mhm.
you as long as you're creating your own reality.
You remember the movie Star Wars when Obi-Wan Kenobi he died, but then Luke could hear Obi-Wan Kenobi just as good as soon as he died.
Yeah.
He's like, Luke, run! He's like, huh?
Right.
So, and eventually he could get to the point where he could actually see him and see Yoda, and even his dad, he became to a Jedi, so he, they're sitting there partying because they beat the Empire, and Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Vader, well, not Darth Vader, but what's his name?
I didn't watch that series.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, there were three ghosts, I guess you would say. Three spirits, entities sitting there. But, he was being able to elevate to the point that he could actually see them and interact with them,
Right.
and they were connected with him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's yeah, that's powerful.
When my sister died, it's so weird because on the way home from that, I saw the end of the rainbow
Mm-hmm.
on the side of the road, which I'd never realized that there really was an end of the rainbow. But anyway, my sister had never been at my residence in which I was living when she died.
Mm-hmm.
One night I was in the refrigerator and I was feeling kind of down. I don't typically do that. I'm sure if something happened to my child, let's
Mhm.
preface this,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would be. But because of spirituality, I do have a different understanding of
I
death
agree.
than most.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting kind of like, oh, this is really just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I dropped something on the floor. And I really just wanted to leave it there.
Mhm.
But being who I am and being who my sister was,
Mhm.
I went to get something to clean it up. And the next thing I knew, I was feeling her energy.
Mm.
So I cleaned it up and I turned around. And plain as day, she is sitting in my living room.
Really?
In one of my chairs, which is now at Jordan's house,
Mm-hmm.
dressed like she would dress in the winter,
Mm-hmm.
because my dad always had the house so hot, in
Mhm.
shorts and a shirt. And she was sitting there. She was not looking at me. She was looking straight ahead. But she was sitting there as plain as day. At the time, I walked towards her because I had to walk towards that area to go upstairs. And I just said, "Oh, I hope you're feeling well." And I went upstairs and
Mhm.
inside I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah. What did I just see? Poltergeist. No, it's-
But then she was always in my living room. But I never
Mm.
said anything to anybody because we don't want to scare anyone.
Yeah, that was numerous times you seen her in there.
Oh my God, she was there for months. So
Oh, okay,
my
okay. I got you.
husband is terrified of stuff like that. Now he's used to living with me, so it's just a montage of hello, how are you, spirits?
Mm-hmm.
I'd always hear him running up the stairs at night because he got off at midnight and then he'd come into the house.
Mm-hmm.
One night he comes to me and he's like, "I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but it feels like your sister is in our living room every night when I come home, and it's scaring the shit out of me." My sister was most definitely there, and then we laughed about it, we talked about it, and then he felt a little more easy saying, "Yeah, I physically have seen her there." But people are always with you.
Yeah.
You may think they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gone, and for the few of us who can still see,
Mm-hmm.
we know that we know that we know. And that's why when I do readings, I can literally say, they are here with you. They're over, and a lot of times they're over their left shoulder. I don't know why, they're with you. They're trying to talk to you. You are the one ignoring the signs.
them, yeah.
You're the one that's ignoring that you thought something was here and now it's there, or you heard something, or you thought you heard your name being called, and you are so American.
Yeah, exactly.
You are so American because Americans are purposely taught to ignore
Ignore
the
it,
things
yeah.
around them. Now, you might be from another country and believe in that, and then you can hear.
Yeah.
But we've been so Americanized.
Mhm.
Shame on you, America.
Yeah. I'm telling on you.
Exactly. We're taught to ignore.
Yeah. I right now it's interesting you say that because a lot of times even small things about getting losing things or misplacing things, you know, sometimes I'll be looking for something and it's like something will take over and I can just find it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, why would, if you got a drawer right here, right? All those drawers right there, y'all can't see it, but there's this drawer, it looks like steps. And it's like, you could be looking for anything and I would randomly come down and open up the second drawer at the bottom and sit
Right,
there. You know,
right.
and I'm just like, you know, because something tells you to do it.
That's
you know,
right.
so yeah. So I definitely feeling that.
Well, and that's one of the things I teach in my classes is communication with the other side.
Mm-hmm.
When you've lost something, when you're freaking out, when you're panicking because you got to go to work and you've lost your keys, you're just creating static between you and the other side.
Yeah.
You and your spirit guide, you and your angels, you and whomever. Stop it. That's my just stop.
Yeah, chill out. Yeah,
Ask. Where are my keys?
Yeah,
Please help me find my keys. And then be still. Fear less.
to get the answer.
Then just go wherever you think you're supposed to go, even though it makes no damn sense.
Sense at all.
Even if you're opening the refrigerator to find your keys. Because chances are we are so discombobulated through all of the social media. We have constantly barraged with information and BS. We can't even remember when we walked to the bathroom why we went to the bathroom.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. I definitely agree. Wow, that's powerful. Yeah. Well, could you please tell the good people where they can contact you if if they want to read and if they want to do social media, all that good stuff. Of course, I'm put it all in the description and all that good stuff. But yeah, please.
I'm not exactly sure how you can reach me. He found me somehow. So
Obi-Wan Kenobi told me to.
Exactly.
He texted me your number.
Exactly. Well, one big thing is my name is Laura Lockhart. Look me up. I own 1111 Spiritual Colonies and Retreats, which we should talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
1111 Spiritual Colonies and Retreats is a concept of making like-minded communities. Everything is based in spirituality. I want to set up communities all over the world where we have our own schools, our own healing clinics, our own restaurants, our own hotels, where people can live there and be a part of the community without paying for housing, with all that stuff, but they would still get an income, where people can come on the retreat side of it and be with like-minded people, yet still live on the outside of it. It's not a concentration camp. What it is an evolution of life and a state of expansion constantly. When we connect together and join our expansion, it doubles it, it triples it, it quadruples it. I want to be able to give people the opportunity to overcome humanity.
That's powerful.
So 1111 Spiritual Colonies and Retreats, that's what I operate under. I do readings, hypnotherapy, life coaching, intuitive coaching. I also do a lot of financial stuff.
Okay.
I do have businesses outside of this. I do own Airbnbs and all of that kind of stuff. I do everything that I want to do because I can, because nothing can stop
you. I know that's right.
If you can think it, you can do it.
That's it.
Quite literally. So he will show you how to contact me because I'm not even sure how to contact me. And if you want a reading, I suggest you text first because I get so many phone calls, I do ignore my phone.
I know that.
Most of my work is done by word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I will never do more than 2 readings in a day. In fact, technically, I would probably do 1. But I can do anything over the phone, over the internet. It does not have to be in person, but a lot of people do like to be in your physical space.
Okay. Well, hopefully, down the line, we can do this again.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, and because, this is powerful, and people need to hear, people need not only to hear, but they need to see, how individuals focus outside of the box, how it's a reality, how you don't have to be in the matrix,
Right.
and how empowered you are once you get outside of the matrix,
Right. And it's everyday people like me.
Yeah.
I think I don't want people to think they have to be special or magical, or just be yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, this is a pleasure. I've learned a lot, and like I said, I can't wait till we link up and do it again.
Absolutely.
And that's really it. Like we were talking about, she does have a book. It's available on Amazon and
It's
Barnes and
available
Noble.
on Amazon.
And also, you guys, if you haven't picked up my book yet, it's there, Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. And besides that, this is a wonderful experience. I'm so happy we did this. And y'all, peace and love.
All right. Join the adventure. Have a good day.
Bowser.